Good morning, everyone. In the last class, we discussed about what is embedded database. We discussed about what is embedded container. When you create the boot application, by default, we are getting one server. That server we are going to call as the embedded container. By default, we are going to get Apache Tomcat as an embedded container. If you don't want, you can change it to Jetty also. How to change it to Jetty? We have seen the changes in the form.xml. And next one, database, embedded database. H2 database we are going to use as embedded database. That is a temporary database. When you want the database for only at the time of project execution, then you can go for embedded database. Once the project is started, database will start. Once the project is stopped, then database will be stopped. So when you are developing POCs, then we are going to use this embedded database concept. And I have given two assignments in the yesterday. One is to develop user login registration by using Spring Web MVC and Data JPA. Another assignment I have given how to connect with multiple databases by using Spring Boot application. Are you guys able to complete this? Completed? Yes or no? No. Why? We'll try. Okay. Fine. So today, let's understand how to develop one form by using form binding. Let's understand how to develop a form in the WebMVC by using form binding concept. Okay. What is form binding? What is form binding in the Spring Web MVC? Form binding is nothing but establishing the relation between Java class object and form fields. So we have Java class object. That Java class object we need to map with the form fields. That is called as form binding concept. So whatever the data available in the Java object, I want to display in the form. Whatever the data you enter in the form, I want to store into Java class object. So that concept is called form binding. Already we have seen entity class. Entity class is used to establish the relation between Java class and the database table. Now I want to establish the relation between form and Java class object. That concept is called as form binding. Now here in the Spring Web MVC, form binding is a inbuilt concept, guys. You no need to do anything here, right? Suppose I am developing one form here. My form contains field like name is available, email is available, and phone number is available. Okay. So there are three text fields available in the form. And when I submit this form, the data should come into object format. When I do the form submission, I want to get the data into my object. So here, this is my sample form, guys. This is my sample form. When I submit this form, I want to get the data into object, and my object data I want to display in the form. So for this, we are going to create one Java class, for example, user. Inside the user class, I'm going to take a variable like string name I am going to take, and string email I am taking, and a long phone number I am taking. So these are the variables I'm taking in the Java class. Currently, there is no relation between this Java class and this form. Java class is separate, form is separate. Now, how to establish the binding? If you want to establish the binding, first, this class object we need to map to the class object we need to map to the form. To map the class object to the form, in the form we need to use one attribute that is called th:\object. There is an attribute called th:\object attribute is available. What is the purpose of th:\object? So it is used to represent which class object is mapped to which form in the project. So in a project, multiple forms will be available. Login form available, registration form available, forgot password, product form, employee form, book form. Like that, multiple forms will be available in the project. And multiple classes also will be available in the project. Which object you want to map to which form, you will represent by using one attribute called th colon object. Then inside the class, there are variables available. Inside the form, there are fields available. So we need to map our variables to the form fields. To map the variables to the form fields, name variable I will map to name field. Email variable will be mapped to email field. Phone number variable will be mapped to phone number field. To map the variables to the fields, there is an attribute called th colon field attribute is available. So basically, we are going to use two attributes to achieve the form binding. What are those two attributes? One is th colon object. Another one is th colon field. So this is used to establish form binding in the WebMVs. What is the advantage with the form binding? So when you want to display object data in the form, when you want to store form data in the object, then we are going to use this form binding concept. If you develop the forms with the form binding, then it will be easy for you to capture the form data. It will be easy for you to display the form object data in the field. Basically, when I click on edit, my record should come in the editable mode. I want to pre-populate the form with the data. So when you want to implement edit functionalities in the project, you need to use this form binding concept. So what is the meaning of form binding? Form binding, it is a technique. Form binding is a technique. It is a technique which is used to, establish relationship between Java class object and form field. So what is a form binding? It is a technique which is used to establish relationship between Java class object and form fields. So using this form binding, we can store form data into object, and we can display object data in form fields. So if you implement a form by using this form binding concept, it will be easy for you to work with the form-based applications in the WebMVs. So we are developing a form to store the data and retrieve the data, edit the data, update the data, and delete the data. So when you want to implement edit functionality, form binding technique is going to help you. So what you need to do, you need to create one binding object. You need to create one form. So form fields we will map to the Java class variable. How to map form field to the Java class variable? For that we will use th colon field here. How to map the object to the form? Th colon object. Now, so let me go and develop one simple form with the form binding technique. Okay. And if you want to implement form validations, then form binding technique is required. If you want to implement server-side validations in the project, then definitely you need to use form binding concept only. Without using this form binding concept, you cannot implement server-side validations in the project. Are you guys able to follow me? Yes. Now, so I have created one project yesterday, so which is a Spring Boot application with the H2 database. I created one Java class called user. Now I want to map this user Java class to the user form. I want to develop one form which is going to map in name, password, email, and phone number. What about created date and updated date? Created date, updated date will be generated automatically. Okay. So basically, I want to develop a form like this, and I want to store the form data in the database. Which database? H2 database. What is the purpose of H2? Embedded database. H2 is a embedded database. Now I created one Java class called user. This is a entity class. This Java class I'm going to use as a binding also. I want to represent a Java class with a database table. Then it is called entity. Same Java class I will use for form mapping also. Now, my entity class is ready. User by using @entity. Let me create one repository also. New interface user repository. So this one I'm keeping inside a package called repo package, user repository. So to represent this as a repository, I'm extending the properties from JPA repository. Let me extend the properties from JPA repository. Binding class is user. Primary key type is a integer. Primary key type is a integer. So with this, my entity is ready and my repository is also ready. Now let me create one user service interface. New interface. I'm taking a package called dot service. Name taking as user service. What will be there inside the service, guys? Business logic will be available. Abstract method I'm writing public boolean save user. I'm taking user object as a parameter. I'm writing one interface. In that interface, I'm writing a method called save user method. Now it is clear. We created one entity class that is mapped with a database table called user master, and we created one repository which is extending from JPA repository, and I created one interface called user service. In that interface, I have a method called save user method. Okay, next one, let me create the implementation for the interface, guys. User service IMPL I am going to create. User service interface available. I'm going to create user service IMPL. It is going to implement our user service. Implement user service concept. Now, @service annotation. What is the meaning of @service? What is the meaning of @service? It is going to represent that class as a Spring Boot. My user service wants to talk to user repository. User service wants to talk to user repository. Let me take the repository as a dependent. Private user repository user repo. So you can go with the field injection or constructor or setter. So which is recommended? Construct. Okay. How to save this record now in the database? How to insert a record in the database? What is the method to save the record, guys? User repo dot save. The predefined method we are calling. Then what is the return type of the save method? Save method will return boolean, integer.
It will return object.
It will return the object only. Save method will take object as a parameter. It will return the object only. Now, inside this saved user, okay, we are passing normal user to the save method as a parameter. It will insert the record by populating the ID and it will return the object along with the ID. Now, return if saved user dot get user ID not equal to null, then it is going to return true value. If ID not equal to null, true. If ID is null, it will return false value. Any confusion as of now? What I have created? Entity class. What is the purpose of entity? Entity is nothing but a Java class that is mapped to database table. Okay. Then I created a repository, JPA repository. What is the purpose of JPA repository in the project, guys? Which is used to perform CRUD operations in the project. JPA repository is used to perform CRUD operations in the project. So how many ways you can work with the JPA repository queries? 3 ways. 3 ways. Predefined methods available, find by methods available, custom queries also available. Then I created service. What is the purpose of service? Business logic will be available. I created the implementation for the service and I am injecting repository object. So can I say service is my target, repository is my dependent? Yes. Service object is taking the repository as a dependent. How I am doing the dependency injection? By using auto while. So inside the save user method, I'm taking user object as a parameter and I'm calling the save of user, which will return saved user. In the saved user, if ID is not equal to null, it will return true. If ID is null, it will return false value. Are you able to follow me? Yes, very good. Next one, we need to create a controller, guys. What is the purpose of controller? To take the request and give the response. So let me create one class with a name called user control. New class, take a package called dot controller. Okay, give the class name as user controller. How to represent this class as a controller? What is the annotation? The annotation is
controller.
at the rate of control. The annotation is at the rate of controller. Controller will talk to service. Service will talk to repository. Inject the service object in the controller. Okay. To inject the service object in the controller, private user service. Private user service. When I take the interface here, repository will inject the dependent object of that interface. Interface implementation object will be injected by using auto wire. Now, inside the controller, guys, we need to write two methods. One method to display the form, one method to save the form data. One method to display the form, one method to save the form data. So let us write one method, public string of index. Public string of index I am taking. So it is going to return index page. Default page we are calling as a index page. In the index page, I'm going to take model object as a parameter. What is the purpose of this model object as a parameter? What is the purpose of this model object as a parameter?
We can return
Mapping.
output in the
It
model.
is used to send the data from controller to UI. You can send any data from controller to UI in the form of key and value. You can send one object, you can send one message, you can send a list of objects also. Any data that you want to send from controller to UI, we are going to use a model object for that. Now, let us map this method to a URL pattern by using get mapping. Get mapping /user. So when you send a request to /user or empty URL, then index method will be loaded. What the index method is returning? Index page. Now here, I want to display the form in the index page. Is it a normal form or MVC form? Earlier we developed normal form. Now I want to develop a MVC form with the binding object. So if you want to display the form with the binding object, remember very carefully. Whenever you send a request to this index method, index page will be loaded. Inside the index page, I want to display a form. This form is not a normal form. I want to develop a form with a binding object. What is the meaning of a binding object? Map the object data to the form fields. So if you want to map your object data to the form fields, when the form is loading, you need to send the object to the UI. Whenever the form is loading, you send one object to the UI. Okay. How to send the object to the UI? Model dot add attribute key comma value. My key is user. My value is new user. My value is new user. What is the meaning of new user? What is the meaning of new user? Creating the object for the user. I'm creating one user object. That user object I will keep as a value in the model. Key comma value. What is the meaning of key comma value? We are storing the data in the model as a key and value. My object is having any data or my object is empty? My object is having a data or my object is empty? Empty. Why I am sending empty object? Empty form I want. You are getting my point? I want to display the form as empty because first time I want to add the data. So first time I want to load the form. When I'm loading the form first time, my form should be empty. Okay. Suppose if it is a edit functionality, when I click edit, data should be loaded in the form. When I'm doing the normal operation, the data will not come in the object. That object is a empty object. Let me show you. So let us go to our website. Let us go to our website. Let me log in. Okay. I logged in into that website. Course is available, guys. Course is available. When I click on add course button, what is happening now? Form is having data or form is empty. Form is empty. That means to that form, we are mapping one empty object. To that form, we are mapping one empty object. Suppose if I go to the course, add course category, anything is coming in the course category, empty category is coming, empty form is coming. So when you want to load the empty form like this, you need to send one empty object to the UI. Are you able to follow me? You need to send one empty object to the UI. For example, in the same project, I have edit functionality. Already category is saved. I want to edit the category. To edit the category, click on edit. Observe. When I click on edit, form is coming empty or form is coming with the data. Form is coming along with the data. Are you able to understand? So when you are implementing a form to add the new record, form should come as the empty form. So we need to send the empty binding object. When you are implementing the edit functionality, you need to send the object along with the data, then the data will be loaded in the form. When you are saving the user, send the empty object. When you are editing the user, send the object with the user data. So now you observe. You course the category. Click on add course category, empty form is there. Already category is saved. Click on edit, category already coming with the data. Form is coming with the data. So here, if you send a empty object like this, form will be loaded with the empty fields, guys. Why I am sending empty object? Are you able to understand my point? Why I am sending empty object? I want to load the form with the empty fields because I want to add a new record. Suppose my record is already saved. I want to edit the record. When I click on edit, then you get the record data, store in the object, send the object to the UI. Then form will be loaded along with the data. Are you getting my point? What is a form binding? What is a form binding? Mapping the Java object to the form fields. Why we need to map Java object to form fields? To store form data to the object, to display object data to the form. When I am saving the data, when I am saving the new record, form data should come to my object. When I am editing the record, object data should go to the form. Two-way data binding. Object data will display in the form. Form data will come to the object. To achieve that two-way data binding, we are going for form binding. To do the form binding, we will use a concept called th::object and th::field. What is the purpose of th::object? Which object, which form? What is the th::field? Which variable, which field? Field to variable mapping with the th field. Object to the form mapping with the th::object. Are you getting my point? Yes. So from now onwards, when you are developing a web application with the forms, you need to implement form binding concept. Okay. So can you tell me what is the form binding in the web MVC? It is a technique which is used to establish relationship between Java class object and form fields. It is a technique which is used to establish the relationship between Java class object and form fields. Using this form binding, we can store form data into object and we can display object data in the form fields. Okay. Now, in the Spring Web MVC, in the time leaf, we will use below attributes to perform form binding. So one is th::object and another one is th::field. What is the purpose of th::object? To map object to form. And to th::field to map class variable to form field. Object means object to form. Field means variable to the form. Are you clear? Right. Now, I'm writing one method which is index method. So index method is taking model as a parameter. What is the purpose of this model now? To send the data from controller to UI in the form of key and value. Model dot add attribute key comma value. Return index. I want to return the index page. Now here I am creating empty user object and I am passing that user object as a value. Why I am sending empty object? A fresh record I want to save. I want a form with the empty fields. Now create index page in the template. Go to template, new file. The file name is index.html. Click on finish. Click on finish. Okay. Index.html file is available. I'm able to create that file. So now I want to use a bootstrap. In the form, I want to use a bootstrap. How to add the bootstrap to the form now? How to add the bootstrap to the form now? Come on, guys. How to add the bootstrap to the form now? Go here. Go here. Get the bootstrap.com. Go to a website called getbootstrap.com. Go to the documentation and copy that index.html. Keep that here. Now, with this, I got the bootstrap. Let us keep a container. Div container. Okay. Div class is equal to contain. Div class is equal to contain. Container div I am adding. Container div I am adding. Now I want to display the heading save user here. Save the user. I want to display a form, normal form. Okay. For the form, we will write action and we will write method. Always forms will be available with the post method. Inside that form, I want to take a table. Inside that table row, table data. Okay, I will write a name as one TD and another TD with the field. Okay, which is input type is equal to text. Input type is equal to text. Name is equal to full name or whatever you. Okay. So like this, I am displaying. Like this, I am displaying. So this is a basic HTML form. Is there any form binding available? No. Basic HTML form I am displaying. Okay. Let me run my application. Run as boot application. Start class will execute. Embedded database also will start. And I will access my index page. Application is starting. H2DB is available. Tomcat server. Default Tomcat server. H2 console. Database is also available. Welcome page is loaded, which is index. Now go to browser. Let us access localhost colon 88. Localhost colon 88. We are able to get the form with a field. Okay. Now for this one, I want to give a button. How to give a button to this page, guys? Input type is equal to button. Submit button. Okay. I will write one more tr. In this tr, I will write one button. Input type is equal to submit. Instead of the name, I will give value is equal to sub. Okay. Now refresh. Button is coming. I want to apply a color for the button. How to apply a color for the button? Class. Class is equal to button hyphen primary. If you want red color button, danger. Okay. Refresh. Now submit button is coming. So a field is coming. Variable, I mean, a form is available, method is available, field is also available. But is there any relation between this form and the user object currently? Is there any relation available or there is no relation available? No relation. You need to establish the relation. If you want to implement a binding concept, then you need to establish the relation. To establish the relation, first you check the controls. What controller is doing with the index method? Come on. What controller is doing with the index method? What controller is doing with the index method? It is sending user object to the UI and it is returning index page. So now this is the user key and this is the value. This is a map, guys. Model is nothing but a map. Map dot to put key comma value. Here it is add attribute key comma value. Using this key, we can access this value. Okay. So using this user key, we can get the user object. That user object I want to map to the form. To map the user object to the user form, go to index.html. Normal form is available, right? Let us make it as a time leaf form. So instead of taking the action, I will take here th action. That is a time leaf action. To map the object to the form, we will use th What is that? Object. Dollar of key. What is our key? What is our key now? Key is user. Key is user. So when I click on this index page, the action, I will give the action at the rate of user. So this is a post user. Currently what I have? Get user. Currently what is my method? Get is available. Now currently what I am giving? Post user. Method is not available. We have to create it. I am writing th::object. What is the purpose of this th::object now? I am mapping user object to this form. User is a key which I have stored in the mode. So take this key, then you will get the value. Now in this user, there are variables available. These variables I want to map to the field. Instead of taking a name, you need to use th::field. What is that? th::field. When you want to map it, star of th::field. What is the variable name in the user class? What is the variable name? Full name. Take the variable th::field of full name. This is called form bind. Okay. I am mapping my object to the form by using th::object. I am mapping my variable to a text field by using th::field. Same thing we need to do for the email, password, and phone number. Okay. Name is available. Now go for email. What is the variable name of email in this one? Email variable. So input type is equal to email, field is equal to email. So that means whatever the data you enter in the email field will be stored into email variable in the user class. Whatever the data you enter in the name field will be stored into the full name variable in the user class. Mapping the relation between the form and object. Object to the form, field to the variable. Okay. Similarly, name, email, password is available. Password is available. Input type is equal to password. What is the variable you want to map? PWD. So use the variable PWD. Next one, mobile number is available. So input type is equal to number. What is the variable I want to map? Phone number is available. So input type is equal to field phone number. So with this, we are able to do our form bind. Now refresh. Yes. We are getting the form and it is mapped to the object. Why form is coming empty? Why form is coming empty?
We are passing empty object.
Empty. If my object contains data, can we see? Can we set some dummy data to the object and can we check it? Now, user object dot set. User object dot set of full name. Something like this, I'm using Ashok. Okay. Now, my object is having data. Now refresh. Data coming to the variable or am I displaying the data or binding object is taking care of that? binding object.
Binding
If I
object.
set some email, so user object dot set email some ashok@gmail.com. Okay, save it, refresh. Email field is coming or not? Server is restarting? Yes. So if your object does not have the data, form is empty. If your object is having the data, form will contain the data. So when you are implementing edit functionality, the form binding concept is required. And when you want to implement form validations also, form binding concept is required. What is form binding now? Mapping the Java object to form is called form binding. What is the benefit? Object to form to object, relation we are established. Now, I want to save a new user. I don't want to set the data. I'm sending a empty object. So when I send the empty object, empty form is coming. Now when I enter the data, I will enter some data and I will submit that. When I click on the submit, it is failing. Why double error page? Why it is failing? No resource available. Because you are submitting the form with the action called user. What kind of action? Post action. You are sending a post request to this URL. But in your controller, is there any method available to handle that? Is there any method available to handle or method not available to handle? Method is not available to handle. Are you clear with my point? Yes. Now, so let me write one method which is going to handle form submission. When I submit, take the form data in the form of a binding object, save the data into table. Are you clear? Yes. Online students, please
ठीक
go
है
on
मैं
mute.
चला मुझे क्लास
Monica, please mute your mic. Yes. Very good. Very good. With this, we are able to display a form with the bind. You got the clarity? Why I am sending empty object now? Why I am sending empty object now? To display form with empty fields. Now, write a post method. Public string handle submit button. Handle submit button with the model. Public string handle submit button with the model. Now, let us take it as a post mapping. Take it as a post mapping URL pattern user. Now, after saving the form, I want to display same page with a message. User save or user not save. Success or failure, I want to do on the same page. Now I want object, user object I will. Why I am taking user object as a parameter for the second method? To take the form data. So here we are displaying the form. Here we want to take the form data in the form of object. Who will take the data from the form? Who will store into your user object? Dispatcher servlet. It is a logic of the dispatcher servlet. In the servlet, you need to write request.get parameter, but in the Spring MVC, you don't need to write. When you submit the form, dispatcher servlet will take the data from the form, will store into user object, give the user object to your method as a parameter. Are you clear? Right. Next one, we have a user service. User service dot save user. I am calling the service method. What is the logic available in the service method now? Save the record into table, return true or false value. If it is returning the true, then what I will do? Send a success message. If it is a false, send a error message. How to send success and error messages to the UI? Come on. If save user is true, success message. Else, I want to send a error message. Okay. Save user model dot add attribute success message value. I will say user save. Here I will say model dot add attribute error message some prompt user not save. Key and value. Are you clear? How to access this key and key in the HTML, here I will use font, style, color is green. Color green. P paragraph, TH colon, text is equal to $of S message. Same thing, error message I want to display with the color as red. Error message I want to display in the red color. So green color and red color. Are you able to follow this? Right. So any confusion in the form binding? Easy or difficult? Easy or difficult? It is easy. Okay. So action is equal to user. Object is equal to $of user. What is the meaning of $of user? That is the key we are sending. With this $of key means it will get the value. Map.get of key, you will get the value. Now, so let me stop it and let me start. Refresh. Run as Java application or debug as Java application. So keep a breakpoint in the controller method. Yes, it is started. Now, can you see the database now? Can we see the database also? How to see the database? What is the database we are using?
H2.
What is the meaning of H2?
In memory.
Memory database. If a project is started, database will be there. If a project is stopped, database will be stopped. Yes. I'm starting my application. H2 console is available. Application started with the Tomcat server, port number 8080.
Sir, I'm unable to log in into H2 database.
Maybe your values are not correct.
I think whatever username password I have given in application.yml, the same I'm using.
I will
But
check,
all
I will check at the end of the class. Okay.
okay.
Localhost :8080/h2-console. Database is coming. Now, what is the password I have given? Go to the properties file. abc@123. You check the URL clearly. URL I need to give. What is my URL? DevDB. First give the URL, then username, then password. 1, 2, 3. Click on connect. Yes, user master. Run this. Any record available? No, empty table is available. Now go to this form. Empty form is loading. Enter the data, mobile number, some value. Click on submit. When I click on the submit, there is a breakpoint available. Request came to controller method. Post request is available. Keep your cursor on the user. Data is coming. Email ID is coming. Name is coming. Phone number. So can I say form data stored into object? Binding is working or not? I am not capturing the data. By default, my form is mapped to object. When you submit the form data is coming into your object. Now I am calling save user. Internally it will call repository.save. Now F6, record will be inserted. It will return true or false value. True means success, false means failure. It is true, success message. Now F8. Now go here, user, save. Go to database, run this. Now can you see record is inserted or full name is available, password is available, email ID, phone number, created date, updated date, user ID available as 1. So primary key value coming automatically because of the generator. It is generating the value into the primary. Can I insert one more record also now? Yes. Now go to the form again and save the one more record. Some Raju @gmail.com. Some password for Raju and some mobile number. Click on submit. Again, one more record is submit. the user object is coming. Raju email ID, Raju full name, Raju phone number. Then just F8. Record is inserted. Go to the database, run the query. Now can you see second record is inserted now? If I stop the application, database will be deleted. I will lose my data. So this is a embedded database. When you are doing the practice or when you are doing the POC, then you can work with the embedded database concept. Are you able to understand form binding now? Yes. He will come by 11 o'clock. Ask them to sit there. He is on the way. He will come in at the 15. How many people? Yeah. Ask Manikanta to call and tell the Manikanta to inform the class. He will come by 11 o'clock. Yes. We are able to insert 2 records into the table. Okay. If I stop my application, my records will be deleted. My database will be deleted. So I'm going to lose my data also when the records are deleted. Is this clear? Right. Fine. So with this, we are able to understand what is form binding concept. So whatever the assignment I have given, user registration, user login, you need to implement with the form binding technique. You create the user class, registration form you need to bind to the user object, login form also you need to bind to the user object. So whenever you are developing a form, you need to do the form binding first. Okay. Now you need to implement form validation. What is the meaning of validation? Now you see here, my form is available. My form is available. I'm going to click on submit. Without entering the data, I will click on submit. Then what it is saying? User save. Go to table, run. Third record inserted. Phone number is null. Email is not there. Full name is not. So empty record is inserted to the table. So do you need to allow the user to insert the record with empty? No. If the user fill the data, then only he should be able to submit. Without entering the data, if they click on submit, error message should come. Name is mandatory, email is mandatory, password is mandatory, mobile number is mandatory. Like that, we need to implement some form validations now. Are you clear? Good. Fine, guys. So, guys, today we have a meeting with the placement officer. So, go to the new office. I'm also coming there. So, we are getting some companies who are looking for the Java trained freshers. So how to attend the interview? What are the companies we have? When the interview is available? Now there is a meeting. Go to new office 5th floor. I will also come there in 5 minutes. Okay. So online students. So with this, I'm stopping for today, guys. So please work on the assignments that I have given for you. 2 assignments are there. Please work on those 2 assignments before coming to tomorrow's session. Tomorrow morning we have a class. Spring Boot class is available tomorrow morning. So we will start the class tomorrow morning by 7:30. 7:30 to 9:30, I will take the online class. So this form validation concept, whatever the login registration assignment I have given, if you are able to develop, that's okay. If you are not able to develop, in the tomorrow class, we will complete that. Tomorrow we have 2 hour class, 7:30 to 9:30, online class is available. Okay? Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Now we
So
go for
how
the
can we attend that? Can't we attend that placement
so that
meeting?
is only for offline. Only for offline.
Sir, but tomorrow is also same link only?
Yeah, same link. Okay. So guys, with this I'm stopping. We'll
So
meet
there is
again.
Java 8 features
I will
session
upload
is
those. Yeah, sir. The morning
no,
7:30.
no. Correct. Tomorrow also we have class there. So if we keep the class at 7:30 tomorrow, we can't attend.
Okay, then we will make our class at 9:30.
Okay.
Okay. Then in the regular time on tomorrow we have the class.
Okay.
We also attend the drive, sir.
Sir, that is for offline, sir. Online people I will update. That is
Hello,
for
sir.
offline. Yeah. Hi.
When, sir? Today,
Sir, could it possible giving an example with the Spring Boot with JSP?
Yes, sir. I will explain. Once all the concepts are completed, I will show one example with the JS.
Sir, can you make it 10 o'clock, sir? Actually, today also class extended till 10 p.m.
Okay, sure, sir. I will.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I am facing a login issue. Can I share my screen?
Sir, I'm going for the meeting. I will send you a message to you. After the meeting is completed, we can connect.
Okay.
Can you please
Just drop
upload
me a
this?
message. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure guys, thank you.
बना आपका पेरेना बनो